And again, now we have PowerPoint number 6 for Unit 3, and we're talking about chemical and physical properties and characteristics. So PowerPoint number 6, chemical and physical properties. We have the TEKs that are listed there for you. We'll talk about those in class again. And we're on capital letter B, which should be on page 6 on your notes. And we start off with physical properties. Physical properties can be observed without changing the identity of the substance. So if you take a piece of paper and tear it in half, it's still a piece of paper. You didn't change the fact that it was paper. Those are physical properties. Examples of physical properties, I have several listed there. The first one is melting point. And a melting point, you guys already know what this is already. It's the temperature that something changes from a solid to a liquid. It's still the same chemical. It's still the same element. You just changed its phase or changed its state from a solid to a liquid. Ductility, that means you can take it, and if you can take it and pull it into a thin wire, we say it's ductile. Usually we associate that with metals of some type. Viscosity, that's how quickly or how slowly a fluid flows. So if it's really viscous, it flows slowly. If it's not very viscous, it's runny. And then the last one on this slide is solubility. Will it dissolve in water? If something is very soluble, it dissolves easily in water. If something's not very soluble, it won't dissolve in water, or it takes a long time for it to dissolve. There are some chemicals that I have in the back, like iron chloride, and you put it in the water, and you have to leave it stirring for a long time. We have the little hot plates that have the stirrers on them, and it just keeps stirring for a long time to make sure that everything's dissolved in it, because it takes a while. Density is also another physical property, and remember, density is equal to mass divided by volume. Whether or not something's magnetic, you can check to see if something's magnetic without damaging it, without altering it chemically. If it's attracted to a magnet, it's magnetic. Conductivity, does it conduct an electrical current? Does it conduct heat? Again, usually we associate that with metals. Metals are conductive. They conduct electricity and heat really well. The next one on the list is malleability. Can you take it and hammer it into flat sheets? If you can, we say it's malleable. Sometimes we use that word malleable and we let it have a more generic or broad definition, like we can mold it or shape it. But for chemistry, it means it can be hammered into flat sheets. And again, metals come to mind with that. The next one on there is luster, or shininess. If we can shine it up and polish it up, that's also a physical characteristic. You don't change what it is if you're polishing it or shining it. Did I give you enough time to write everything down? I'll sit here and make up stuff to say for a couple more minutes, just in case you need some more time. However, that's pretty much as much as I can do. So if you need to, you can pause it and get the information from that. Okay, chemical properties are totally different from physical properties. Chemical properties are characteristics that are observed only as the substance changes into a different substance. So if we take this paper and we check for flammability, we have to set it on fire, and the paper is no longer paper. In order to check that chemical property, to see if it's present, you alter the substance that you're working with. So examples of chemical properties, we check to see if it's combustible or flammable. Is it able to burn? When we looked at those MSDS sheets, do you vaguely remember the MSDS sheets, material safety data sheet, that tells us all the safety hazards of the chemicals? All the chemicals that I have in the storeroom come with a label that identifies their level of flammability. Oxygen and hydrogen gas are very, very flammable. Carbon dioxide, it's not a very flammable gas. That's why you can take your breath, your carbon is loaded with carbon dioxide, and blow out a candle. That's one of the reasons you can do that. You see the lovely picture down the bottom, and you guys should be able to recognize that as the Hindenburg, a big blimp that they filled with hydrogen gas. Hydrogen gas, which is lighter than air, so it lifts up, but it's incredibly flammable, so that puppy burned up really quickly. If you remind me, I have the video, or you can get on YouTube. I bet you the video's on YouTube that shows the Hindenburg burning. It's not very long at all, maybe a few seconds, 40 seconds maybe. We also talk about chemical properties like reactivity. And reactivity actually covers a whole bunch of different chemical properties. How easily does the substance react with something else? So there are a lot of chemicals that react with oxygen, or there are some chemicals that react with water. All the chemicals, again, they come with a label, that MSDS sheet, that tells us how reactive they are. So if you look at the little NFPA diamond, the one that's reactivity is the yellow one. So if you look at the diamond on the right over here of your screen, it's got a reactivity at 0, which means it's not going to be very reactive. So it might be something like milk. You know, milk is not really chemically reactive.